How did monks come to preserve so much knowledge from the ancient times? That is a question that has been wandering around many research projects, many books. It's thanks to most of them that we know now what we know about Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, the pre-Socratic philosophers, the Roman Empire, and so on. The foundations of the Renaissance, of humanism, which is the initial phase of the Renaissance, is on the writings that were transmitted hand by hand during several generations. However, the Christian monks were not alone. We have to definitely recognize a very important ingredient in this process of knowledge transmission. Basically, the role of the Jewish and the Muslim population in Southern Europe. They were the actual translators. They were the actual copyists. Those were the scholars in highly sophisticated societies that really appreciated the value of old philosophy, of the ancient way of thinking, because they thought that it might offer new explanations, different paths to reach the truth. So here we see a medieval monk copying. We don't know exactly. This is an engraving that is basically a modern representation of what we think happened during the medieval time. Whatever he was writing something. We don't know if it was of much value or not, but it is important that he was writing, because that was the privileged way of knowledge transmission. There were no recorders, there were no CDs, no MP3s, no video cameras. So the process of what we now understand as documentation was very primary at that time, but still effective. It was a process in which monks were allowed during their free time to investigate. Not all monks, of course. They were those who were devoted to preaching, to spreading the word of the Gospels, militantly, strongly defending the values and the teachings of the Church, like this Franciscan monk. There were others who were having a little more fun, probably, like this one, with a barrel of wine and with a happy face, because after all, life is to be lived. The Pope lived in a castle in Avignon, France, surrounded by luxury, probably not so concerned about Aristotle or other important philosophers of the past. But in some parts of Europe, in addition to the Church, there were other individuals, like Maimonides, this great Jewish philosopher from southern Spain, from Cordova, who lived during the 13th century and left a very important legacy of writings in which he applied and interpreted Aristotle's treatises to the Jewish theology and in dialogue with the Christian values. Maimonides was responsible for renewing many of the studies of Aristotle in the Middle Age, and together with his contemporary Averroes of Muslim origin, they also, together in Spain, carried out the task of disseminating the word and the thought of the old philosophers. We have to recognize that these individuals played a pivotal role in the transmission of knowledge from ancient times to our modern times. Without the existence of Jewish people, Muslim people in Southern Europe, it would be very hard to really understand what happened later for the appearance of what we understand as the humanities in the late Middle Ages.